Welcome to our Jeremy Ranch Market Update. I'm Ron Wilstein, a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties in Park City, Utah.
And I'm Doug Olmsted, the seller's consultant here on the Wilstein team. Thank you so much for joining us today.
We want to talk about the Jeremy Ranch area, but we want to begin by giving you a quick overview of the Park City market. So let's take a look at what has been selling. Over the past 12 months, there's been 1,265 sales in Park City. This consists of all homes, condominiums, and vacant land combined. This is all real estate brokerages combined. And that is down 189 sales or 13% from the 12-month period the year before.
We've broken it down for you in this graph. You can see that the red bars represent November 2015 through October 2016, and the gray bars are the year prior. And we've broken it out by homes, and home sales were down 2% to 508 sales from 521. Condominium sales down 20% from 741 to 596. And lot sales down 16% from 192 sales to 161 sales.
So the number of transactions actually declining. But let's take a look at prices. Everyone wants to know what occurs with prices. Here we're looking at medium home sold prices, and this time we've broken it up between the Park City neighborhood and the Snyderville Basin, the county area of Park City. You can see that prices have risen by double digits. In the Park City area, climbed 11% from $1,439,000 being the medium sold price, all the way up to $1,600,000. In the Snyderville Basin, it has risen 12% from $862,500 all the way up to $965,000. So it's toying with that $1 million medium sold price.
Nice appreciations. And similarly with condominiums, if we look in Park City limits, up 14% from 565,000 all the way up to 646,000, and in Snyderville Basin up 17% from 395,000 all the way up to $464,000.
All right. So let's turn our attention to Jeremy Ranch. Doug, what's happening in Jeremy Ranch?
Well, in Jeremy Ranch, home sales are up 19% over last year's number of sales. Very popular area, Jeremy Ranch is.
Yeah, so you can see that it rose from 43 all the way up to 51. So while the overall market saw a decrease in the number of sales, Jeremy Ranch has been very strong. They're actually selling at a pace of one sale every 7 days, and we get that figure by looking at the absorption rate in a neighborhood. What we look at is we look at the past 12 months, see the rate of sales, and we take a look at the current inventory and project into the future, if nothing changes, how quickly properties will sell. Well, homes in the Jeremy Ranch have been selling very rapidly, one sale every 7 days. There's currently 14 homes on the market in Jeremy Ranch, which equates to a 3-month inventory. Now, where that's significant is the National Association of Realtors says that a balanced market between buyers and sellers is a 6-month inventory. Typically in a resort market like Park City, a balanced market is a 9-month inventory. So when we see a 3-month inventory, that's definitely favoring sellers.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at the selling prices. You can see the Jeremy Ranch ranges all the way from $522,000 all the way up to $2,060,000, with the median sold price being $919,000, up 5% over the previous year's values.
Well, quite a spread there.
That's a big spread.
So it climbed all the way from $874,000 up to $919,000. 5% bump there in the Jeremy Ranch area. When we look at vacant land, the number of sales are actually down quite significantly, 62% over the previous year's figures. Specifically, it's a drop from 13 sales the previous year to, during the last 12 months, 5 sales. Now, Jeremy Ranch lots are selling at a pace of one sale every 73 days, obviously quite different than the home market. And that equates to about a 22-month inventory, since there are currently 9 lots on the market in Jeremy Ranch. Let's look at the prices.
Again, a large range there from $255,000 all the way up to $430,000, depending on the view and the location, with the median sold price being $365,000, up 33% from the previous year's values.
Okay, so that's interesting. A strong market, particularly with vacant land in Jeremy Ranch. People want to build homes there. And again, this graph here shows you the increase in that median sold price. Well, if you're interested in a printout of the specific properties we reference here, whether homes or condominiums in Jeremy Ranch, you can send either myself or Doug an email, ron@thewilsteinteam.com, or
Doug@thewilsteinteam.com.
and we also want to show you how you can get information whenever you want about the Jeremy Ranch area. We do these webinars approximately every 6 months to update you, but you can always go to viewparkcityrealestate.com/Jeremy Ranch, and we just show you, if you go there, what you'll see. Here we are on this page specifically devoted to the Jeremy Ranch neighborhood on our website. And as you scroll down a little bit, you come to these buttons here. The green button says watch a webinar for an update on Jeremy Ranch real estate. In effect, that's what you're doing right now. But if you go to the blue button here, hover over it, changes colors, you click on it, and it will take you to a page that says current sales data request. And all you do is fill out the information. It's all very self-explanatory. It would take you less than a minute to complete. And in the comment box, simply say, send me the sales in Jeremy Ranch, or anything you're interested in the Park City market. Click the green button. That will come to Doug and I, and we will get you that information. So it's really just that simple. Now, but as we wrap up here, let's just talk about our market, because it is changing in Park City, and it's definitely worth talking about. We're now looking at a market that is moving from a limited supply market with double-digit price appreciation, as you've been seeing here, to a frequently overpriced market where buyers are choosing not to pay the next record high sale price. We've been seeing prices increase consistently year over year and been reporting in our monthly webinars about it. And buyers are getting a little bit afraid here that what sellers want buyers to pay, they're not sure they want to pay, because of a fear that the values may drop off in the next 6 months. And of course, nobody wants that to happen. Doug, there's two sentiments in our marketplace that is contributing to this idea. Let's talk about them now.
Okay, sounds great. A lot of our buyers are coming from around the country, and they're seeing these national news that's anticipating real estate slowdown. You can see where Aspen Real Estate, first ever sustained nosedive, whether a nosedive is, true or not, but that's what the headline says at the Denver Post. Faltering economy brings real estate market down with the Luxury Daily, and in Mansion Global, further summer slowdown, seeing in Manhattan's luxury real estate market, overpriced homes may be slowing down the LA market. So these are the headlines that people are seeing.
That's right. It definitely has an impact and influences how today's buyer is feeling about the Park City market. The other element is the buyer's belief that Park City prices can't keep going up at the pace that we've seen in recent years. And we've been reporting, just as we did briefly in this webinar, about home prices climbing double-digit appreciation. Condominiums, the same thing. And you can't help but wonder, how long can this continue? And that's what today's buyer has to contemplate. So what does this mean? Well, it means that property owners who want to sell need to not be so aggressive, or perhaps fair term is greedy, in pricing their properties for sale. We've watched prices climb. Sellers have benefited from that. Sellers are still benefiting from it, but when they price too aggressively, they're slowing down their ability to sell their property, sometimes coming to a screeching halt.
So once you start negotiating with interested parties, we do need to consider that if you don't put together your deal right away, you may not actually see another one for quite a while. And you could be looking at lower prices actually in the future.
That's right. The third thing that we like to stress is that you evaluate a total market overview analysis so that you can price your property reasonably to sell. Typically, real estate agents provide what's called a CMA, or a comparable market analysis. They look at sales within a given neighborhood, Jeremy Ranch as an example for our topic today, or a condominium property, and they focus only on that neighborhood. And while that information is helpful, and we always do a comparative market analysis, we also do a total market overview because we want to look at it from the buyer's point of view. Most buyers who might consider buying a home in Jeremy Ranch may consider Silver Springs also, Pine Brook, Park Meadows, Ranch Place, a number of other neighborhoods. So it's imperative that you look at data outside your neighborhood, see what buyers are actually seeing on their shopping list, so that you can see where your home fares compared to those and price it accordingly so that it can sell. Now, related to that is when you start negotiating, you of course want to negotiate the highest and best price you can, but realizing as our market is changing to be content with that price. There's this tendency as sellers to look in your rear view mirror, what's happened in the past and want it to continue forever, and who wouldn't want that? But be careful of that. No single sale is going to change your life. You want to get the highest price that you can, but realize it's part of your whole life. With that in mind, just want to give you some tips about selling your property and pricing it if you're thinking about selling it. And we found this to be very consistent information over the last several years. Might be testing it with this market change, but it's still valid. And that is an acceptable list price is up to 10% above the fair market value of your property. And an unacceptable price would be more than 10% above the fair market value of the property. Using this graph here behind me as an example, if you select your price as the fair market price, you're likely to sell your home or condominium within the first 3 months that's on the market, and that's your objective. That's exactly what you want to do, get the property sold. However, if you're trying to get a higher price, test the market, if you will, have more room in the marketplace or in your price for negotiations, you might choose to list your property at 10% above, kind of the maximum we're talking about. But keep in mind that that might take 6 to 9 months to sell your property. The other hand, if you say, well, I don't want to take 9 months to sell my property, well, in that case, you might choose 5% above, so that you're going to likely sell it quickly, but it might take a little longer, but you're trying to get some more money. So those are the decisions you have to make as a seller. What you do want to keep in mind is that if you price it over 10% above the fair market value, properties are rarely selling right now. That's where we're seeing a slowdown in the marketplace. That's where we're seeing properties staying on the market an extended period of time. So with that in mind, our opinion is it's time to adapt. So Doug, share with us a little bit about some advice here.
Well, nobody wants to sell your property for less than you should get in today's market, but beware of asking too much. It could be sabotaging your ability to sell your property at all. Ron will take us through these emails. We see these daily coming from the Board of Realtors, and we'll check out some of these price reductions, Ron.
Yeah, this is an example of an email that is sent out by a listing agent, and it goes out to all of Park City's brokers and agents. And you can see the headline that we've highlighted in yellow, great price reduction. And what you're not seeing, or it's a little bit difficult to see here, is that they're talking about a $52,000 price reduction. Now, that's a big price reduction. Granted, it's a $1 million property approximately, but they overpriced it. Mm-hmm. Here's another one. Sellers say bring all reasonable offers. You look at it more carefully, you see that over the time of the listing, this represents a $195,000 price reduction. They priced it too high. Might have been the seller's wishes, might have been the agent trying to get the listing. So you have to look at the total market overview and price it correctly. Here's another one, $50,000 price reduction, and again, over $50,000 reduced in order to move the property. So the key thing here is you want to price your property correctly, and if you want more details on the 10% rule and what we've kind of touched on shortly and briefly in this webinar, go to BuyParkCityRealEstate.com/price right. We go into greater detail, and Doug and I are always happy to come out and visit your property and give you an idea what the comparable sales data is and allow you to see what you'd be up against if you were going to put your property on the market to sell.
Well, you can always learn how much your Jeremy Ranch home is worth. Just go to BuyParkCityRealEstate.com, and I'm sure Ron will take us there. Learn down to what your property is worth section and complete that form. It's very similar to the form that we filled out earlier, and that'll come to Ron and I, and we will get that sent over to you.
So I'm taking you to our homepage on View Park City Real Estate, and you just scroll down a bit and you go past some of the listed properties to learn what your property is worth in today's market. And as Doug has said, short little form to fill out here. When you get to the bottom of it, choose this first one, which says contact me now for a free property value assessment. You can mark any others that are applicable, click the green button, and we will receive it and we'll contact you and arrange a time to see your property. So with that in mind, we're here for you. There's our email addresses, ron@thewilsteinteam.com, doug@thewilsteinteam.com, and if you'd like a phone call from us, include your phone number and a preferred time, and we will give you a ring. And then finally, just want to remind you, every single month, around the middle of the month, we update our Park City Market Talk webinar. We go into greater detail on the statistics on the market, and we talk about 2 or 3 specific topics that are very timely for today's market. So that in mind, we appreciate your time.